Guys, we gotta go up. Let's go up. Let's go up.
Oh no!
These videos, obtained by CNN, appear to show the beginning of two wildfires in Los Angeles. In the first video, taken on the morning of January 7th and later shared with the Associated Press, Kai Cranmore was hiking with friends in Temescal Canyon when they spotted smoke on the horizon.
Turned around and there was a plume of smoke just like rolling over the mountain like right behind us.
This satellite image, captured by the European Space Agency and timestamped at 10:37 a.m. local time, shows the first signs of the Palisades fire tearing through the area. CNN geolocated Cranmore's video to an area near the site of that smoke.
Hey babe, I need you to come out here right now.
Later that day, Ring doorbell footage shows Cheryl Koo alerting her husband Jeffrey to a nearby fire she saw on her drive home from work.
And because there was no power, the neighborhood was dark, the canyon was dark. She could see a light in the hillside, and as she got closer to the house, sure enough, it was burning bright, and it was the base of the tower on fire.
Minutes later, cell phone video taken by Jeffrey appears to show the base of an electrical tower in Eaton Canyon on fire. These are potentially the first images of the Eaton fire.
We were in the panic mode of just trying to get out as fast as we can. We did see the embers flying. It was almost like snow flurries, but instead it's fire.
At the same time the Koos were evacuating, Pedro Rojas captured another angle of flames erupting at the base of the transmission tower from his backyard in Pasadena. Local officials are investigating the area as the possible origin site of the fire, according to the Los Angeles Times.
Investigators are trying to get to the bottom of the question that's on everyone's mind. How did all of this happen? What started the two most destructive fires in Southern California history? Now, we know the dry brush and the high winds helped fuel the flames. You can see here just how fast the Palisades fire grew. What started more than a week ago has spread and spread and spread. It's now burned more than 23,000 acres. That's more than 37 square miles, killing at least 9 people for that fire alone, scorching 5,000 structures. It's currently, this fire in particular, 18% contained. But what was the source of that initial spark? Well, the first signs of the inferno were actually early on Tuesday, January 7th. CAL FIRE says that it started around 10:30 in the morning. Now, this video shows smoke rolling off the hills around the Palisades minutes after 10:30. Now, this satellite image was taken at 10:37. Now, at that point, the fire was a tiny fraction of what it would eventually go on to become. And now we're learning the Palisades fire appears to have started very close to another blaze that broke out just 6 days earlier on New Year's Day. This is the burn scar from that fire from a satellite image on January 1st. Here's that same burn scar on the image on the Palisades fire. It's less than 300 yards from where it looks like the Palisades blaze began. Now, people are asking, could the winds have rekindled smoldering debris from that New Year's Day fire? Well, agents from the ATF are trying to figure it all out. But a source tells us there is no leading theory at the moment. And then there's the Eaton fire. Now, CAL FIRE says it started at 6:18 p.m. on Tuesday. Here's video from an Altadena resident just a minute later.
Oh. Oh. Oh no.
Now, what he's filming there is an electrical tower with flames licking away at the base of it, as you see, and that's not the only vantage point. Another nearby resident, they recorded this. It was taken around 6:24. Now, no cause of the fire has been determined yet, but the Los Angeles Times is reporting that authorities are investigating an electrical tower as the possible origin site. The city's electric company is already facing a lawsuit, by the way. Southern California Edison says it found no problems around the time of the fire. I want to bring in CNN's Nick Watt, who's live in Pacific Palisades. Nick, there have been concerns all day about the return of those now infamous Santa Ana winds. So far, though, the gusts have not been as strong as expected. How long is that going to last?
Well, hopefully a long time, but at about 3 a.m. our time, West Coast, so 6 a.m. your time, they are forecast to pick up again. You know, we went through this drill last night where we thought that the winds were really going to pick up in the middle of the night. You know, there was a weather forecaster on the local news who was talking about these people being at the most danger as he had his hand alarmingly over exactly where I live. So my truck is full of a couple of pictures and some stuff from my house right now. If we get through tonight, we will be good. So fingers crossed the forecast is wrong again. I mean, it's been great news. And frankly, the Palisades fire today has been very inactive. No real active flame. A few hot spots around the fringes that they've been really trying to damp down just in case that wind does pick up. And, you know, another theme of the day has been, you know, Mayor Bass talking about, you know, it's time to look forward. It's time to start rebuilding. You know, she and the governor are signing executive directives, executive orders to try and make the permitting process a lot faster, to cut a lot of the red tape, which is notorious here in LA, trying to cut a lot of that red tape so that the rebuilding can happen. I mean, I drove along Sunset Boulevard through the Palisades earlier, and, you know, all the utility trucks are now there, you know, chopping up the trees that have fallen over, dealing with the gas lines, dealing with the power lines. But it is going to be a monumental task. But for now, as I say, the real focus is, fingers crossed, hoping that those winds don't really pick up again tonight, because, you know, a lot has burned here, but there's still a lot of vegetation. You know, last winter I was covering floods in Los Angeles. That just, there was a bloom of growth that then dried out. A lot of that stuff's still around. So fingers crossed.
Certainly, and thinking about that, I won't forget, this is also not just a story you're covering, this is your home, and thinking about how impactful and personal it is to you as well, Nick. And you actually spent some of the day around the trails where the Palisades fire started.
Yeah.
We're hearing a lot about the investigation. Obviously, it's in its infancy. But what are you learning about the investigation into how this started?
Well, yeah, we are up in what is called the sort of general area of origin. It's just on this hill behind me. You see the police are here. They have not been letting anybody in all day. You know, normally media are allowed anywhere in wildfires, not here, because this is a potential crime scene. So you mentioned that previous fire, January 1st, early hours of New Year's Day. That was just over there. So listen, that's obviously something they're looking into. Were there embers, something still burning under the ground that was then just reinvigorated by that wind? Arson is also obviously on the table. You know, they had dogs out here in the past few days sniffing for accelerants. And there are also, you can't see them because it's dark, but there are 2 utility poles up there right now. So listen, what they generally try and do is, you know, kind of rule stuff out and hone in on what might the cause actually be. The other thing that they're doing right now is they're trying to get from this sort of general area of origin down to a specific area. One investigator I spoke to today said they try and get it down to basically the size of a dinner plate. And the way that they do that is you have investigators actually on their hands and knees looking at every single piece of vegetation, every pebble, every blade of grass, figuring out which side the fire reached that particular item. And then they can map that, flag that, and try and just hone in on that area. Because obviously, if you can figure out exactly where it started, that's going to be a huge help to figure out why it started.